following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you can hear it. Enjoy this moment. Enjoy the music we're hearing, because this is going to be a very, very long time that we hear this song for a while. Sorry, it brings a tear. But then again, the announcement was also a tearful moment. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Flex Network Wrestling Week in Review show here on the Flex Network. It's your boy, the Snowman, and another week and another batch of craziness going on in the world of wrestling. And dang, man, it's just been very, very, very fun to watch. If you haven't been watching, what's wrong with you? But we're going to get into the thick of things right here of what's been going on, what's been going down. But before we do, you could tell with the background that Money in the Bank is over. It's come and gone, and we have new Money in the Bank winners. We have championships defended, and surprisingly, championships changed. But before we get too far into the show, you know how we do this on the show. We are live. Yes, we are live and in living color. Talk about wrestling. What's been going on? What's been happening? If you've got questions, got comments, you know how to drop that. You can drop it on in. We will answer them and anything you need to know about what's been going on. But yes, let's get into the show that you all came to see here. What has been going on? Well, let's talk a little bit about Money in the Bank. But yeah, let's switch this up a little bit, because if we're talking Money in the Bank, then we gotta be talking shebang. Oh yeah, gotta get that in there. Yeah, we're gonna be talking Money in the Bank. And what has been going on is Money in the Bank was fun. It was a hella good pay-per-view. It was a really great pay-per-view. Maybe one, couple matches that were really great. The Money in the Bank ladder matches itself that happened at WWE World Headquarters were awesome. I hope you guys, go on the network and check that out. Rewatch it. It was a blast to see what they were going to do at Titan Towers in Stamford, Connecticut. That was fun as it could get. But let's go down what happened this past Sunday. We had the New Day retain the SmackDown Tag Team titles in their fatal four-way between the New Day, Lucha House Party, Miz and Morrison, and the Forgotten Sons. Like I say, that was a good, good match with the tag titles, on the line and everything. Lucha House Party, Forgotten Sons now getting into the mix of things with what's been going on in the tag title division on SmackDown. And just to say the least, it was a good, pace action right with to start the pay-per-view. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I believe that we're going to see a whole lot more of, Lucha House Party and the Forgotten Sons getting in the mix. Probably we're going to see them go for, either Forgotten Sons get the tag titles down the line, or we're going to be getting Lucha House Party another reign in there with tag team titles, or actually, I think that'll be their first time. I want to say, but either way, they're gonna get into the title picture more on SmackDown. There's not really; it's only between Miz, Morrison, and New Day right now. So now a whole lot of action with the tag title scene. So those four teams are going to be killing it. Bobby Lashley in the R-Truth match. It was supposed to be MVP and R-Truth. Didn't really care for that much. Truth be told. Now I'm going to talk about it. Didn't care. I mean, granted, the whole, slap, it's like, just talk. It's like, oh, you mean it? That was pretty funny, but otherwise the match itself was just no real impactful talk about it or care. SmackDown Women's Title match. Bayley taking on Tamina and pulling out a victory. It was a good match. Bayley retains thanks to her best friend, her BFF forever, Sasha Banks. Again, getting into the mix. And I've said this in weeks before that we're going to see something going into SummerSlam. We are several months out. We are mid-May. We still got June, July. So we're about 3 months out from SummerSlam. And it's going to be a very interesting 2 months to probably get Sasha circled around into the title picture. And then that whole, SummerSlam month to get her into the rivalry, really good rivalry with with Bayley. So it's going to be a very interesting time. I want to say it's going to be even more so like the rivalry may even be right below their Takeover Brooklyn match, their rivalry, and also into their Respect Iron Woman match. That was pure awesome matchups right there. Maybe it may not fall, like in between them. It might just come a little bit under, but you know what? The rivalry between these two, if they can get to that degree where it was back a couple years, several years ago, where it was these two were just going at it at Takeover Brooklyn and at Takeover Respect in the Iron Woman match. That was awesome to see. But hopefully it'll be a switch around with Sasha, maybe, getting one and then Bayley getting the other. That would be awesome to see. Braun Strowman and the Universal title. That was a hella good match against Bray Wyatt. And no, I'm not gonna say the F word on this. I'm not gonna say the creepy man, because I don't want to get transported to that place again. Am I still in the ring? Okay. I'm not going to get transported to that alternate place if I say that word right now, because it's not worth the time now. It's not worth the time to say his name now. But the match itself was awesome. With the struggle with trying to get Braun to come back as the black sheep and seeing Huskers the Pig out there encouraging and, just getting, cheering on Bray. It was, fun to see. And all the other members of the house, the fun house, come out, near the end. And then the mind games that Braun Strowman played on Bray Wyatt was so perfectly well orchestrated and so well done that you gotta give, props for this. Like, damn, just to see Braun with that mask, rising up, and you're like, no, dang it. And then, the hugging and the yes, it's like, he's gonna be so happy he's back. And then take off the mask. It's like, swerve. He just pulled the switch and just cost himself back into the flock. But it was a great match. all entailed, the whole degree of it was so well put together. I love the match itself. But now we're going to be seeing the not the Psychotic Mr. Rogers version coming up. I would guess probably at the next pay-per-view entitled Backlash. Perfectly well done for the next WWE pay-per-view coming up. Is going to be very, very Corey. I'm not going to say his name because I know the second I do, I'm going to be transported to that other world, and I know I don't want to do it right at this moment. It was bad enough last time, but yes, the evil man of the free, but yeah, so yeah, he's going to get. I would strongly think he's going to get the opportunity at Backlash. Literally at Backlash, I think it's going to be Universal title, Braun Strowman taking on the Fiend. Okay, I'm still here. I'm still there. Okay. So I'm going to, it's going to be, I will guarantee that is going to be a heck of a good match for SmackDown at Backlash. That is going to be very enjoyable to see. And, with everything going into it and how he's going to try to get either Braun destroyed or even worse, try to get him back into the Psychotic Mr. Rogers side of the neighborhood. And then, of course, the WWE Championship match with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. That was one of the better matches in the short time frame that Drew McIntyre's had the title. Granted, I don't count the big show after WrestleMania that still was at WrestleMania. I don't count that. And everything he's been Drew's been doing with Zelina's, group, I don't really consider those real matches. It's just, yeah, they're good on Monday night, and everything, including the match with Buddy Murphy. But the match with Seth was very good and technical all the way through, to a point. And then, the match itself, it was very intense. I'll give it that. It was very intense. And then to see Drew McIntyre handshake Seth Rollins, call for the handshake at the end. And then he got it. It's like you could see the destruction in Seth's eyes, that he knew he had a chance for the title. He had a chance to be deemed the WWE champion, the man again, and he didn't get it done. He couldn't fulfill the prophecy that he was going to be, that he needed to get the burden off of Drew McIntyre, and he didn't get it done. And that rolled right into Raw, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But then, of course, we roll right into the main event, the show-stopping number that did not take place at the Performance Center, that took place at headquarters, at WWE World Headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut, at Titan Towers, the legendary building for WWE. And you know what? For everything that these guys were, had thought of and were going to do inside of a office building at World Headquarters, was brilliantly planned, brilliantly executed. I mean, the guys starting now in the infamous weight room, the girls starting down the lobby. I mean, granted, it was hyped up to be that everyone was going to be starting at ground level, but nevertheless, the guys in the weight room, the girls on the main floor, and everyone had their everyone came in and their own entrance and everything. It was cool. It was cool. And then to see, waiting for Asuka is like, wait, where's Asuka? Where's she at? She's supposed to start here. Well, she kind of did start there, just right above their heads. I mean, And Asuka's starting out that way, and then just doing a little dance up there, and then jumping off into the crowd of women that's up right below her was awesome to see. And then just to see Asuka get right back up, hop in the elevator, and just hide, essentially hide in the elevator while the rest of the women took the stairs to try to get up to the roof or try to get up to the next level. And the guys literally destroying the weight room. And I said this once, I've said this a couple times on the show. I hope Vince McMahon had his insurance paid up. I mean, I know a guy, Jake from State Farm. I'm sure can go and get his pay off his the damages that have been done there. Get a rebate and everything. Hey, go. I'm serious. Go get Jake from State Farm. Go get him. He's in Detroit. I know that. Just call him on the phone. He's in Detroit right now. I'm sure he can help him. Okay, go. Thank you. That's all I said. Just call up Jake from in Detroit. He'll help him. Anyhow, that whole thing in the weight room, using almost the weight equipment, destroying the mirror with King Corbin tossing that weight at the mirror, shattering. It's like, damn, just pure destruction. And then to fight throughout the building with AJ Styles getting scared shitless out of his mind with a stand picture of Undertaker from WrestleMania in Orlando the last time they were there when he faced Roman Reigns. And then to just see him, Ray, trying to find him, going into one room where he was confronted with a casket and the dark purple and blue ambiance of The Undertaker and the flashback to WrestleMania this year in that boneyard match and getting buried alive. That was awesome. And to get essentially trapped in there by Aleister Black after a black mask and tossed in there and locked the door was awesome. Fighting all the way through to with some appearances with the women going to the Money in the Bank conference room and fighting in there. Dana grabbing a fake Money in the Bank contract with money in it instead of the actual contract in the Money in the Bank conference room. And Steph coming in and just, you're in the conference room. You're the one you're fighting for is up on the roof. Yeah. Just the guest appearances of everyone was funny with Brother Love, with a bad version of Doink the Clown, Johnny Unitas of People Power, Stephanie McMahon getting in there, Paul Heyman getting into a food fight with the men and the women roster in the midway point was funnier than hell. And then of course AJ and Daniel Bryan getting busy and getting fighting into it with in Vince McMahon's office and eventually make it look like they were just two kids who were sent to the principal's office and they were like, ooh, we're not supposed to be in here. And Vince telling him, get out. It's like, okay. Chairs. We'll put the chairs back. And it's like, that had the look. That entire thing, I swear to God, that had the entire look of two kids who had just got called to the principal's office. They entered without being told they were supposed to go in. The principal turns around and looks at him like, and the kid's just like, oh, crap, we were not supposed to be here. What did we do? It was like the funniest thing you could ever have seen. I highly recommend you guys go back and watch that entire Money in the Bank ladder match. It was all the way awesome. Fast forward to when they get to the roof and everything. Utter destruction. When we get the women who come up first. Asuka gets up there. I mean, granted, it was only Nia, Asuka, Lacey Evans, and I cannot think of off the top of my head who else was up there at. It wasn't Shayna. I mean, it was probably just Asuka, Lacey, and Carmella, and Nia Jax. So yeah, Nia Jax got up there, but it was up there also. Yeah, just off the top of my head. But Asuka gets the title. She gets the Money in the Bank contract, the briefcase. She gets up there. Granted, she was almost stopped by Baron Corbin, who was telling her to go for after. You want that one, but Asuka, being smart, knocks him off. And thank you. We did not need King Corbin to be King Corbin with Money in the Bank contract. That would have been a nightmare of epic proportions to see Baron Corbin two-time Mr. Money in the Bank. Literally, bad thing for SmackDown. But now, so the women's match is done. Finito. We now have the men. The last one standing essentially were Ray, Alistair, Corbin, Otis, and AJ Styles. We have no idea where Daniel Bryan is. Actually, yeah, Daniel Bryan showed up, but he got knocked over. No, was knocked out eventually on the roof. But we get Corbin doing the one thing we kind of expected, but never expected. We were kind of thinking maybe AJ Styles would have done it. But Corbin decides, hey, let's just toss Rey Mysterio, not out of the ring, but off the roof. And while we're on top of that, let's toss Aleister Black. If you've played WWE WrestleMania 19 on the GameCube in the WWE Revenge mode, you hear, someone gets tossed off, into elimination. That's what I was thinking. If you go back and watch that and you play the sound of, someone getting eliminated, screaming on the way down, and then the eliminated, that's how it felt to see those two tosses off the roof, if you would say. Just seeing Corbin, bye Mysterio, oh, come here, Aleister, see you, Aleister, enjoy the fall. Granted, it was not that far down, like maybe 6 feet down, but otherwise it was very enjoyable to watch. And to see, to see Corbin and AJ going after the contract, getting their hands on the briefcase. AJ brings it down. They're both fighting for it. Here comes Elias, him with the guitar shot, knocks Corbin off. AJ Styles loses the handle on it like he had just caught an NFL pass and was like, oh, slipped out of his hands and into an interception right into Otis's hands. So now we have the match is finished. We have new Money in the Bank winners with Asuka and Otis. Yeah. Oh, tuck it, Otis. I can't do Otis, but yeah, the big man from the tag team, Heavy Machinery, is Mr. Money in the Bank. And overall, that whole entire event was awesome. So go, you guys need to go and check it out. If you have the WWE Network, go and rewatch it. It was awesome to see. Just go back and watch. It was fun to watch, and everything, with it. It was awesome. Okay, now we're done talking about Money in the Bank. Got to switch out from, money. Let's get into Raw, because Raw itself was a real shock to the system. And I say that because let's not really talk about Raw in the moment, but it's going to lead into it. But Monday, we find out that Becky Lynch is going to have a major announcement. And, we're going to talk a little bit about, stuff that's been going on in the world of wrestling with, of course, let's, bring that on down here. Oh, news report. Let's get into talking a little news report before we talk about Raw, SmackDown, what's been going on the rest of the week. The big news is Monday we found out that the man herself, Becky Lynch, is pregnant. Yes, the man, Becky Lynch, is pregnant, is due in December. She's saying that she's due in December, and because of that, she has to relinquish the Raw Women's Championship / put it up for grabs in the Money in the Bank ladder match, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Thus ending the longest reigning Raw Women's Championship so far. Sorry, I had to cough. I didn't want to cough it, but so yeah, the longest reign with let's get our lovely stats up here, with 398 days, 2 days short of 400 days reign, at least recognized, but it was 375. The way that's I want to say it's described as TV wise, it's 373 days, but non-TV days, 398 days, due to the tape delay and everything. So yeah, almost 400 days, which is literally awesome, and shockingly the longest one of any of the previous 14 reigns before Becky Lynch. I mean, granted, Charlotte had it 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-time Raw Women's Champion. Sasha with 3, 4 times. Yeah, so most reigns was tied with Charlotte and Sasha, and then Banks got Alexa got 3 reigns in there. Nia, Bayley, Ronda, and Becky, and now the current one, Asuka, all at 1 reign. So yeah, it's literally the most shortest reign amount of people who have won it, but the longest in its history, which is very cool for Becky. So yeah, surrendered the Women's Championship to the winner of the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match winner, which AKA was Asuka. And then we found out a couple days ago, or actually I want to say yesterday, maybe Tuesday, that Sami Zayn, the current Intercontinental Champion, due to not being on TV since WrestleMania and essentially staying home for the coronavirus pandemic, since after WrestleMania, is now officially stripped of the Intercontinental Championship. So there will be a tournament to decide the new champion starting tomorrow on SmackDown on Fox. That one was the real shock to me, because granted, I would have figured Sami Zayn would have been a champion. They would have figured out something to where he's stayed at home / could have done something to the degree of what Brock Lesnar's been doing his entire time he was ever champion in his recent stint, which is go home for months on end and still be recognized as champion. But yet, because Sami Zayn is holding the Intercontinental Championship and not the world title, he doesn't get that free pass, it really sucks. I understand the Intercontinental Championship is, kind of like the gateway to the world title. It's to get people ready to face the world champion, and it needs to be defended. But, and I say this with the biggest but, it could be emphasized, but to give Sami Zayn not the opportunity opportunity, the same thing as Brock Lesnar, who would be gone for months on end and defend it once every so often, or vice, to treat Sami Zayn that way, or not to treat Brock Lesnar the opposite way, which was you show up, every 30 days, defend the title, or you're stripped. It sends a mixed message a lot. I mean, granted, if they're playing with the 30-day rule, then that's messed up on the Brock Lesnar end, because Brock's was champion for so long, he would come back, maybe once every couple months. Then you don't enforce that rule. But if you're going to enforce the rule on the Intercontinental Champion, and you're not the World Champion, that just plays so many wrong things. And Sami Zayn tweeting about his displeasure for it, I wholeheartedly agree with his that he should not have been stripped of the championship. If Brock Lesnar can do it, I believe, in my view, if Brock Lesnar could be champion for however long he was, which I'm getting the stats up for you guys up here. I mean, let's see. Yeah, Brock Lesnar was champion for 504 days in his 2017 run from WrestleMania 33 all the way to SummerSlam in 18. So yeah, to go 500 plus days and only defend the title maybe once every 2-3 months, or at least at the big events like SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, these somewhat big, the big four events, to only defend it, that often, that really, would piss a lot of people. Actually, it pissed a lot of people off. So, yeah, not really the best idea to do. And granted, after Roman won it, had to vacate it, and Brock won it back in Crown Jewel in 2018. And then to lose it again at WrestleMania about 156 days later. And then lose it, Seth loses it back to Brock at Extreme Rules about almost 198 days later, then Brock loses it again at SummerSlam, and we don't see Brock with a title until his recent WWE Championship run. It just plays so much to the difference of why I understand why Brock Lesnar gets the pass, because he's the big marquee guy and he's kind of earned it. But on the same slope, that to have Sami Zayn, who is Intercontinental Champion, and essentially go maybe I want to say a month with the title, and he gets stripped of it. So actually, scratch that. He went he went 65 days from Elimination Chamber until this past week. So 65 days. So 2 months, essentially. 2 months with the title, and now he's stripped. And granted, he defended it at WrestleMania, and now he's going to lose it a little while later, or several weeks later. So which ultimately sucks. But for someone else, that's going to be a great opportunity to become Intercontinental Champion, depending on who they're planning on giving the belt to, or the title to. More likely, it'll be the tournament winner will be decided at Backlash. Let's get on from the titles. Let's get to something we've already posted if you've been following us on Twitter. And been really, with this whole coronavirus thing. SummerSlam and Takeover Boston is not going to be happening this year in Boston, as with SummerSlam supposed to be taking place. Let me get the exact date. I have it. That's last year. So SummerSlam was supposed to be taking place August 23rd in Boston. Yeah, wicked awesome, Boston, Massachusetts. But because the Boston mayor has announced the suspension of large scale gatherings before September 7th, this puts the damper on SummerSlam happening this year in Boston, Massachusetts, home of the Red Sox and the Pats and the Boston Bruins. Yeah, which is wicked sucks. And yes, I'm doing a very poorly bad version of a Boston accent, which I claim no ill will with that. But yeah, so SummerSlam is not, and SummerSlam weekend is not going to be taking place in Boston this year with Takeover and SummerSlam, and maybe the thought of we're going to have Hall of Fame at SummerSlam this year because of what happened this past before WrestleMania with everything that happened with Hall of Fame was supposed to be a thought, maybe a thought of doing it SummerSlam weekend, but now with the mayor of Boston Xing that idea with no large gatherings before September 7th, it may not be happening. WWE hasn't commented yet on what they're thinking or what they're going to be doing about SummerSlam. If it's going to be pushed ahead, they're going to continue with it, or they're going to do it at the PC, at the Performance Center, or new place. We don't know yet. We haven't heard anything from it. But yeah, so if you're going to Boston in the summer, in August, if you're planning on going down there for Takeover Boston, SummerSlam weekend, that August 23rd weekend, yeah, you screwed, because it ain't happening. Actually, if you watched Takeover, or sorry, not Takeover, if you watched NXT this past week, you did find out that NXT will be having another Takeover June 6th. And the weirdest thing, 21 years, we get this lovely return of a very, very loved classic pay-per-view event, because we're going to get Takeover in your house, and you can hear this theme. That is right. We are getting NXT TakeOver in your house June 6th. Thanks to the announcement from D Generation X. And this is so good to see them come back with a throwback classic of an NXT pay-per-view to use an old school theme or concept of in your house. It was such a great concept and great pay-per-view. So many classic matches happening in your house in general. St. Valentine's Day Massacre, the steel cage match with Vince and Austin in 1998, going into WrestleMania 15. And Big Show coming up from underneath the ring and tossing Austin through the cage. You got the first ever Buried Alive match. And we've talked about this stuff. Buried Alive match. Mankind and Undertaker. That was epic. Shawn Michaels and Mankind WWF Championship match at Mind Games in '97. That was awesome. Another classic one. Heck, they even allowed people to enter a contest to win an actual house in Florida. How crazy is that for a concept? You enter a contest and you get to win a house. I don't know who else would ever do that. For a wrestling organization to have a contest where you sent in a postcard, you write into the post on the address below, and you sent in a postcard to hopefully get entered in for a house in sunny Florida, which is so crazy to think about nowadays in our time frame, in our time, that a wrestling show is going to offer up the chance to give the fans of the WWE an opportunity to win a house, a fully furnished house in sunny Florida. Which, to say the least, it was so yeah. In 1995, I had to find where it was at, but yeah, 1995, an 11-year-old wins a house. How's that for a real thought? Literally, it was just the craziest thing that anyone could comprehend at that time, that an 11-year-old entered a contest and won a house in sunny Florida, which was, so cool. For essentially this kid. And granted, his family, and looking at this interview that I'm finding on WWE.com, from like years ago, a couple of years ago, that the kid actually sold the house. He never lived in it. He sold the house 6 months after he won it. And he sold it for like over $175,000, and that's not bad money for an 11-year-old kid. But to win a contest that way, you just enter a postcard in, you send it in, and you win. That was cool. So yeah, that is going to be awesome for NXT to bring back for their next takeover on June 6th. Takeover in your house. We don't know what matches are going to be happening yet, so we still got what, a month? Yeah, we're about a month away from figuring this stuff out. So other news, especially with the C19 virus, I know we're dragging a little bit, but Extreme Rules, July 19th, in San Jose, California. We do not know if it is being canceled. Right now, it is still being advertised, is still going down in San Jose, July 19th. So we don't know anything about if it's going to be canceled or not, with everything going on in California right now. And then no news on where Backlash, the next WWE pay-per-view, is going to be happening. If it's going to be at Full Sail, if it's going to be at the PC, or if it's going to be at a different location. But we don't know where Backlash is going to be. And then, of course, from last month, didn't really announce this, but TakeOver Dublin was rescheduled from April 26th to move to October 25th. So NXT UK will be heading to Dublin in October, thanks to this pandemic. So we're done with news talk. Let's get back into wrestling. What's been happening? We'll quickly go through Raw a little bit, the high points. Bobby Lashley and what he's been doing. He's been kind of winning squash matches, I want to say. Just on, my thought. He's just been winning squash matches, and he's kind of been getting the Raw deal. Everything with, Rusev and the whole now with Lana. he's just kind of in a stuck position. But now, if you watched Raw and you saw, MVP talking with Lashley, one sec. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't want to cough again. But yeah, if you saw what's been happening with Lashley, and if you saw Raw this past week, Lashley and MVP back together again. If you saw TNA Impact several years ago, you saw that these guys were the power team on TNA Impact, with MVP running the company for a little bit as wrestling operator or director of operations, and Lashley was the heavyweight champion. I kind of think that what we're seeing now is we're starting to see the seeds planted for MVP and Bobby Lashley going back and tagging again, or being a team again, and ditching Lana, hopefully, because Lana's kind of lost it and outside, caring right now. So that is essentially what I'm seeing with, at least with Bobby Lashley and a little bit of MVP right now. The seeds are starting to get planted for this Lashley MVP reunion as a team. Angel Garza taking on Akira Tozawa, and Garza picking up the victory, but it kind of is starting to look like there's some problems in Team Zelina, with the U.S. champion Andrade, with Angel Garza, with Austin Theory, those guys all just getting into each other, Offset. There's some problems going on down there in Team Zelina, which is going to stir some trouble, and it might even cost Andrade the U.S. title down the line. That's going to be looking very, very well happening, and hopefully is going to show itself down the line. Iconics getting back into the women's tag team title picture, defeating Bliss and Cross in tag team action on Monday. I don't know what's up with my voice on that one. Mysterio and Aleister Black taking on Seth Rollins and Murphy, and Mysterio and Black winning by DQ, thanks to a disqualification of, with Seth, acting crazy, with having the fact that he lost at WrestleMania, lost at Money in the Bank, and it just looked like he has finally snapped. And I'm not talking about like Macho Man, snap into a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah. Crazy. And NWO crazy. I'm talking the lights are on, but no one's home kind of crazy. Judy. You might have to take a trip to the... I was catching myself. So he might have to check himself into the Firefly Funhouse with the psychotic Mr. Rogers to get his head screwed on straight again. But yeah, so Seth gets intentionally DQs and tries to take out Rey Mysterio's eye, and then in the back act like it's all, I'm so sorry, I don't know what happened. I don't know what came over me. Yeah, it's kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with this one right now. And then Shayna Baszler and Natalya killing it in the final match of the night before Edge and Orton start to get Orton challenging Edge for a one-on-one match next week, one-on-one, just regular wrestling match. That should be fun to see. NXT, let's head on down to the Black and Gold brand. And yeah, crazy stuff happening at NXT. Actually, you know what? Before that, before we head there, the last thing on Raw, Becky Lynch kicking off the show, and letting Asuka know that the title or that the Money in the Bank contract ladder match was not what it seemed. It was actually for the Raw Women's Championship, as she announced that she is surrendering the title, or had to forfeit the title, and as she's going to become a mom. So now that was the big news, and that she's going to be going away for a while. Back to NXT. Imperium taking on Matt Riddle and Thatcher for the NXT tag titles. And in a shocking move, Thatcher leaves Matt Riddle hanging dry in what was a great tag team match. And Imperium become the new tag champs in NXT. That leads to a matchup later in the night, at the end of the night, between the former partners. Now, remember, Matt Riddle and Thatcher are not the original tag champs. It's Riddle and Pete Dunne who won them at TakeOver Portland by winning virtually the Dusty Cup over this, during the weeks leading up to Portland, which was awesome. Got to see that finals match between that. It was hella good. Tegan Nox getting into some action against Indy Hartwell and picking up the victory over her. Nice job, Tegan Nox. Seeing her gain back on track from everything she had to go through with Dakota Kai and Gonzalez. I do believe she's going to be winning NXT Women's Championship very soon. I would not put that past her to put her in the title hunt. Cameron Grimes beats the Prince Finn Balor thanks to some help from Damian Priest. It was a good match on its own, but thanks to Priest and that lovely nightstick baton there, costing Finn and essentially setting up a match for them coming up in the coming weeks. It's going to be very, very fun to see the Scott Hall, Kevin Nash mix-up taking on the Prince. It's some hella good competition. And of course, main event, Matt Riddle defeating Timothy Thatcher in it was a really good technical match, real, somewhat fight style, with submissions and everything being technical. It was good. Matt Riddle getting the roll up on Mr. Thatcher, who was trying to get him in the knee bar and everything. It was good. I couldn't have asked for it better, especially with these guys. It's going to continue down into the weeks leading up, especially to take over in your house, which is going to be fun. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, let's head on down to the other area of the brand. Let's talk about AEW. Of course, last night was fun to watch. Best Friends defeating Jurassic Express. It was a good match. Four-way match. Hikaru Shida defeating Britt Baker, Penelope, and Chris Statlander. Good match. It was a good match. Good women's match, which is going to set up nicely for Double or Nothing next week, next Saturday, to get everybody an opportunity, or try to get everyone into a match for AEW's next week card. So Hikaru picks up the victory and is going to be the number one contender for the Women's Championship. And we'll talk about the AEW card next for that we know so far after Dynamite. Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega defeat the returning Santana and Ortiz. MJF makes his return to in-ring action, defeating Lee Johnson. Jericho, doing what Jericho does, beats up people. Pineapple Pete gets the losing end of the shtick. And then main event time, Brody Lee defeating Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel, and it was I mean, granted, it was a good night of wrestling on AEW, but of course, flipping back and forth, didn't miss it, quite a bit with what was going on with AEW and NXT. So win some, lose some. But here's the card we know so far for Double or Nothing next Saturday. The finals of the inaugural AEW TNT Championship. Cody will take on Lance Archer, and Mike Tyson will be in the building to deliver the title to the winner of the tournament. So yeah, the baddest man on the planet will be in the building, and somebody gonna be probably gonna get knocked out. MJF will be back in pay-per-view action as he takes on Jungle Boy. AEW World Title will be on the line. Moxley will take on Brody Lee 1-on-1, and then a casino ladder match for a future world title opportunity. Darby Allin, Cole Cabana, Orange Cassidy, Ray Phoenix, Scorpio Sky, and we'll probably find out next week who the next person will be in this match for an opportunity at the world title. Nia Rose will take on Hikaru Shida in a no DQ, no count out women's title match for the women's world title. Should be a good match. Britt Baker will take on Chris Stanlauder 1-on-1. Pre-show, we're going to have Private Party taking on Best Friends, number one contenders tag title match. Winner will be the number one contenders for the world tag titles against the Elites, Adam Page and Kenny Omega. And then, of course, the big challenge that was thrown down from Jericho this past Wednesday was a Stadium Stampede match between the Inner Circle and the Elite and Matt Hardy. So Matt Hardy and the Elite will take on the Inner Circle in a Stadium Stampede match down in Jacksonville. I'm actually kind of intrigued in this match. A Stadium Stampede match. Now, granted, it's no bunkhouse brawl, but with, having that feel of, WCW in this, with this company right now, it might actually be interesting. It might be very good to watch. Especially when you got the Le Champion of Chris Jericho, even though he's not the champion right now, it should still be a hella good show. But yeah, it's just going to be a very crazy time down there next Saturday. And yeah, that is going to be it for me. We got through what's been going on in the world of wrestling. Actually, you know what? TNA, I'm going to talk a little bit about TNA because Impact. Impact has been starting to make a little noise. The keyword, little. But not in the way a lot of people are thinking. Because I don't know what they're kind of doing down there at Impact. Because you have the world champion in Tessa Blanchard. She's the world heavyweight champion. Not the women. She's the head honcho, the world's heavyweight champion. But yet, they brought back the TNA world title, and they're having matches for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I'm not someone to complain about what's been going on, but that kind of seems like very well confusion for a company that has no longer saying we're TNA, but we're Impact, but we're bringing back the TNA World Heavyweight Championship because we were trying to bring back the TNA brand, and with the wrestlers, the former wrestlers like Suicide, Kid Cash, um, just a lot of the names that we knew from TNA past that we could get and have them be known as TNA and have them wrestle in TNA matches, like Hernandez, which I don't know if they're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it sticks, but to have the TNA World Championship be defended and be seen more than Tessa Blanchard and the Impact World Championship right now, that kind of just seems like something screwy or something is amiss. Now, I'm pretty sure that there's a good explanation. Probably Tessa's not being there because of the virus and hasn't been stuff hasn't been shown or recorded, so she's not there to do anything, or they're just having problems with trying to get everything copacetic together with people being there at the right time, with having no fans, and depending on where they're actually having recordings, if they can get people there or not. So yeah, it's just, again, that just plays into the confusion that Impact has been doing the last several years. They've had good moments that say, what, that's it's good to see and good to watch, but then they come right back and just be like, what are you guys doing? Which is essentially their entire wrestling promotion from about 09, 08, I want to say. Probably by the time Hogan and Bischoff got into TNA, that was starting to be the norm of crazy and what the heck were they thinking kind of moments. But again, that's just my view on what's been going on with TNA/Impact Wrestling. And again, we don't know what the heck's going on with having no Impact World Champion there with Tessa Blanchard, and having the TNA World title there, and having Moose be the world champion. I don't know. But that is going to be it for me. So yeah, I gotta get through my spiel. And yeah, I kind of know. It's yeah. I normally would hear the voice of my blue hoodie Matt, but just like with everything that's been going on, with especially acting like John Cena, we can't see him, but I can still hear his voice. So yeah, normal spiel. Let's get this through. Actually, tomorrow, our boys, Sealy Shane and Season Long says is going to be on the show. They're going to be talking about they're going to be talking about about fantasy football for you guys. They're going to be dropping some knowledge and talking who you guys should be picking up. Let me trying to get what they're going to be talking about tomorrow. If I can bring that up for, yep, they're going to be talking the Buffalo Bills and the AFC East. So yeah, tomorrow, if you want some info on some football, 7:30, actually literally 24 hours from now, they will be talking some football. So come on back and enjoy the show with these guys. They will be talking, to get you guys ready for fantasy football. But yes, fantasy football is coming back stronger than ever with the boys. Season Long says, Alan Seslowski, Cowboy Cam, Flex Matt, Flex Shane, everybody, they'll be back. And we're getting geared up over here. We're getting geared up to talk some fantasy football for you guys and to get you guys ready. So yeah, be sure to check out and follow us on Twitter at the Flex Network 1 for all your football and fantasy football needs. If, of course, for wrestling, you guys know how this works. To follow us, especially on Twitter at the Flex Network _PW Elite. And that is going to be it for me. I am the Snowman. And we will see you next week on the show. Peace.